Valiant, Amani, track.
Wolfpack assemble!
Oh, was I supposed to say that too?
Oh, for fuck's we cannot.
That'll do.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Roti and Poutine 2021. Nothing has changed. We haven't. I hope you all had a very wonderful, happy new year. I am the MC Armani Rain, joined today once again with my co-host, the Valiant MC, the T.R.A.C. Mr. Track MC himself, and a very special guest, my friend from across the pond, who really should just live up the street, Mr. TC. How are you, man?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show. That's what I'm saying.
If you take the time right now, or do it when the show's over, don't leave now because the algorithm says you won't come back. But when you have a chance, or if you have a phone in your hand, please go to YouTube right now. You can go to TCDNB, his channel, subscribe. He's got a show on there called DNB Talk, along with you do Twitch as well, right?
I stream on everything. Okay. If I'm doing the streaming, I made 30 tunes in 30 days. All live. I actually did like 26 tunes in 30 days. The challenge was 30.
Look, man, if you did one in 30, I'm impressed. So
it was a fail, but it's okay. I'm okay to fail. I'm okay to like be real in this game, and just, you know, if I can't do the 30 tunes in 30 days, I'll fess up to it and be like, okay, 26 tunes is actually all right. And then I did like a mix for those tunes in like a CGI environment thing, and you can go and buy them. So I did that on the channel, and the last thing I just did was a remix documented from like start to finish, but like in a series of videos, like recording drums in my garage and just going in deep and just trying to bring like information to new producers, really. Because what else am I going to do in these times? You know what I mean? Right. There's sort of pressure of like every single day I would have to come up with a new idea for the tune and like a new concept, new drums, and then like slam it out. And then the next day I would sort of finish that tune off, and then I would just go straight back in and start the next one again. But because it was all live, it created a real kind of community in there. I've got my wolf pack of all the people who were like part of that, and then they all feel like they kind of have a hand in making those tunes at the same time, all different styles, and it kind of brought everybody into this kind of feeling. And then I put the tunes out for sale, you know what I'm saying? So
got you. So you're a TCDNB on YouTube, and I believe that is the same for your Twitch as well, correct?
Yeah, TCDNB across.
You think I would just have this written down somewhere so that
you can put the links in the description.
We'll put the links
in the description.
Tell people all my people subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.
Yeah, son, you know what it is. Now that we are here, shout out to everybody in the chat. Good to see you back. Good to see you active. Just so you are reminded once again, as I like to do, this is a pre-recording, so stop asking us questions because we can't hear you. You do it every time.
Live
We'll do it anyway. They're gonna do it anyway.
They're gonna do it every time.
The whole time.
Well, we play it live every Thursday. We play it on the time we would do it live, and every time we pre-record, someone comes in.
Yo,
T, remember that time we was in? And you like, he can't hear you, fam.
Okay. Oh, so they're all talking to you in your headphones. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Well,
how come I can't hear them?
You know.
Oh, it's Twitch. All right.
Twitch.
Okay.
Just go to Twitch, and then we'll.
These are some depths of this technology stuff that I do not understand. I hope you're making money off this. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, buckets.
We're making tens of dollars.
Right now,
I'm never making music.
We're making tens of dollars.
We're making tens
insane.
of dollars. It is wild.
Nickels
this
and
equipment
dimes.
Definitely
Making it rain. Nickels and dimes.
Anyway, hey, we got to ask you, Roti and Poutine tradition, Mr. TC, and I need you to go deep on this. I need you to think, whether it's now or way back in the day. What is your bucket list food?
Just gotta say a fillet steak cooked right.
Oh,
okay.
For me, just a real nice piece of steak.
What are you, rare, medium rare guy?
Medium rare. I always feel like I should be a vegan. I was talking to Fury today. Every part of my body says to me that I should be a vegan, but I just can't do it. It's just
Like
too good.
your body's like, I can feel the heart attack coming on. I know it's coming.
Yeah, a good piece of steak
So
is definitely
careful.
like
I
the
swear-
most anti-vegan next to like frog raw. But
I switched to oat milk just probably so I could still have steak.
all right, well, you did enough.
I'm trying. Yeah, you on the oat milk flex?
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
on the oat milk flex.
I do cashew. I don't. Oat milk's a little too. Oat milk's
Wow,
not-
I'm really talking to Americans here.
Yeah.
My stomach does not do well with dairy, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. So I roll with the cashew for my cereal.
I started off almond, then I went to cashew. Now I'm on the oat.
Yeah, I got the proper oat. I
Tomorrow
just
to be
perfect
great
oat milk.
milk.
Silk has this coffee creamer. It's a half and half, and it's like half oat, half almond, I think, maybe. I don't know. And it's like got like 10% fat, you know, to be similar to half and half. And it's got a weird aftertaste. I don't know. I like the old fashioned soy based coffee creamer, but
This is the most gangster story we've ever had.
I'm
let's
all
talk,
about
let's talk
cooking,
about
though.
our IBS and our lactose intolerance.
It's going off swimming.
And then I throw a little whiskey in. No.
Just because.
I had to. It's like 8 p.m. here, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah, we're jealous. I can't start drinking. I gotta look Croy. Don't or maybe
This
not.
is
I
a
don't know.
very
They ain't-
special blend as well. This is Macallan's.
Nice.
nice.
The
You-
one that
Speaking of which, I wanted you to know the first time, not we met, but the first time we sat and had a real conversation. Because I say to people all the time, I love people that I can sit down and have a cup of coffee with. You and I actually sat down at a steakhouse before a gig one time,
Ooh.
and like hours before the gig started, we sat down, had steak, and talked about wine and everything non-music the entire night. And I remember that.
I
So,
remember that. Was that Viram tour?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a good tour. I really felt like I connected with you on that tour. Like all
We had
those
a
times
good
in
time.
the airport, and like, you know, you can really tell the proper soldiers in this game when like the next day they're not grumpy. You know, they're just doing their thing. It's cool. And by like the 5th day, no sleep. If someone's still cool, it's all right.
Say word.
It's okay. When people are like I don't know, it's that soldier mentality, this drum and bass thing. We're all out there. Nobody slept in a long time,
Jesus.
and like it can get pretty brutal. But I would choose you to be on tour with, bruv, because it's not like it's no issue. I didn't see you lose your cool one time, and I'm like, okay, that's nice.
Dude, same.
all right.
And that's like it's always I tell them all the time. Everybody knows that I've repeated it a million times. It's like I don't even like to work with people who are the other way, because that's the truth, man. You get about 10 days into a thing and it's like a marriage almost, you know? It's like don't move in with somebody and then find out you hate the way they brush your teeth. Like
Yeah, that's
it's
what I'm about to
like-
say. 7 days, like, why are you sitting next to me on this trip? Like, wow.
you know. So, and I'm not naming no names, but it's happened. So I'm trying to be like
Oh,
I've
come on,
seen
man.
people
DJ's
melt
thing, not
down.
the female thing. I love my
Right.
wife, and that's all that matters. That's
Right.
all that's ever mattered. But the DJ thing, yeah, you've been on trips where you're like, fam, I don't like you at all.
What, you would just say that?
No,
I wouldn't be
no.
that guy to just say it out like that. I could just tell someone. I don't think maybe.
No,
Nah,
I've let people know after.
I mean, a good month
for real.
I'm surprised what could happen, though. You know,
I've definitely had people be like, yo, you want to go back on the road? And I'm like, I'm good.
Wow.
It's like, I respect you, but I'm straight. I'm
Because
busy.
it's the whole thing about touring is that you step in on some, like, you know, it's a cool gang. All right, we're about to have, and then you start seeing like people's personals and the other side of them and how they react on certain situations.
Once
Then
they get comfortable and tell you things they shouldn't say out loud.
absolutely. And then there's
It's
always
like-
this one person in the middle of the trip that wants to pretty much has this I want to go home look on his face at some
Yeah, we're here
point.
to have fun,
Surely
man. We're
everybody
blessed.
has that at some point.
Yeah, man. I don't know how bands do it and keep their lineups intact. You know, I've been in throughout bands and throughout drum and bass. I never got to the level where I had to do more than 4 gigs in a row on the road. I never had long-term touring experience. I'm glad because I'm more of an introvert, and I don't know how introverted people do this shit.
I'm trying to think of like the longest one that I've ever done, and I done bus tours, and they were long, lots of shows, but they were always good people. Maybe like 12 to 14 days on the road with somebody. I mean, the worst ones, I think the worst time I ever had was, and this is a great conversation for but the worst time, the worst gig, the worst I ever felt was I was doing South America, and we flew in and we did like Brazil, Chile, Argentina, and then Venezuela. And we did all of these spots. And I literally had no sleep from the time we left in London to like the 3rd gig. And I went to bed and I had 2 hours before I had to go and play this show.
Oh, it's
and
not even worth it.
Jake's was totally banging on my door. It's like, bruv, we gotta go to the show. And he's like a monster. I don't know how the hell he manages to do it. He just drinks beer the whole time instead of water. I feel like that's his thing. And like I honestly felt like I was gonna like lose it. Like I've never felt so sort of like shaky before a gig. But the minute you get on stage,
it's gone.
It's gone for a bit.
Until you get off the stage.
Oh, I was gonna say the second you walk off stage, it hits you 1,000 times, man. Hey, people don't understand how the touring life is. I like to remind people of that a lot. It's not all glitters and gold. I swear to God, let me also preface this that I would take the shittiest bus tour in the world right now. So keep it a buck so y'all don't think it was like, y'all in the virus being ungrateful. Trust me, we love it.
Yeah,
we're just expressing that it wasn't always private jets.
Right now.
All of them going to relocate to New Zealand.
I said this on a few things. I think Alex Perez just moved out there, didn't he?
Yeah. The second he moved there, I was like, man, shout out Alex Perez.
DJ. She held down COVID, so she on top of the world right now.
She crushed it.
I would move there anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 1,000.
The one thing that I felt like I wouldn't want to move to New Zealand was on the second big, they have quite a lot of earthquakes, and they had like a massive earthquake in Christchurch, and on the second massive one, I was just like chilling on my mate's sofa who was running the shows, and luckily I wasn't in the hotel because the hotel was just flattened.
Oh wait, you were there?
Yeah, so I was in his house during like a massive earthquake in Christchurch, and it kind of changed my mind on New Zealand a little bit. And a lot of the hotels have got like tsunami warnings and that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's pretty much paradise, especially like Queenstown, and that's like Lord of the Rings, man.
That whole shit ain't nothing but California, man. California.
It's not the same, man. It's not the same. I'm playing. It is not the same. It is beautiful down there. But what'd you do for a holiday, Trek?
Holidays, man, you know, I was just happy to be alive, I guess, at this point.
I meant the food, man. We know you're grateful.
I'm alive, everybody.
I didn't eat nothing. I just sat in my happiness.
I survived.
Yeah, I ate a plate of alive with gravy on it now. But I would say we had, you know, I haven't had sushi in a long bit because of COVID, and I had that not too long ago. And now it was the best tasting thing in a long minute for me, yo. So I gotta say, hooray sushi for me. Oops, I'll keep it as sushi for today.
I actually had some sushi for my 10-year anniversary. We actually
nice.
We do it every year, and it was different this time.
Armani was like, "Do you want to record this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then he's like, "It's on my 10-year anniversary." And I said, "You ask your wife if that's okay, yeah?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, knowing my experience, if that was my girlfriend,
right,
there's no way that would be okay. I was just like, "Bro, we need to reschedule now because I don't want to be in the middle of this."
If she had something to say, she would have said no, and I would have been like, "Cool," and that would have been the end of that. But no, we took the time. That. But we did reschedule because of it, and we did use the time wisely. So thank you. I appreciate you being so.
We had sushi, which is like
we did beautiful sushi from the spot right up the street called Tomo. It's actually
I think I saved a lot of money on dinners recently.
Yeah.
Well, over the last year and a bit.
For sure.
Like, I may not be working, doing gigs or anything, but I sure as hell am much more rich from like not going out. And I've been out for one dinner, and we're in like quite a strict lockdown here in England now. We're pretty much like
It's Operation Shutdown out there, really.
yeah, really,
what's the latest on that?
We can't even go, like, you couldn't drive to another town. You'll get stopped by the police. It's pretty, well, that's what, I mean, they're kind of saying that. Whether that's the reality of it, I don't know. But they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do. We kind of messed it up here. I saw that, well, I mean, I feel like I saw this thing coming like last January.
Right.
I was like, when they locked off that city, I was like, okay, this is
right.
Something
gonna get
different.
fucked up.
Yeah. So I just started, working on how I could make businesses that didn't involve me having to go out on road,
Right.
like quick, sharp, and get ahead of the curve on that, and fill up the pantry with a bit of long-term food just in case. You know what I mean?
Lots of crackers and cheese.
Right.
Go to Costco, get some toilet roll before everyone goes in.
Still
Heaps it all
can't
up.
I think I actually saw a meme the other day. It was meme-ish. I don't want to call it a straight meme, but it's like, yeah, I totaled up the amount of money I would have lost from gigs this past year, and it turns out I saved $217. And, which, points to the ridiculousness of how artists get paid, or whether they get paid at all. And the fact that
let's talk about that. No.
Yeah, let's talk about it again. That'd be great.
Where's my money? That's what I'm gonna say.
Hey, look at that tie. Look at that tie-in. Good at your job. You've been potting for a while now. Valiant, what's your bucket list? What was your food of the? Sorry.
Two. I mean, obviously Christmas dinner was crazy. I sent you guys pictures of the dessert lineup, which was bananas.
For those who don't know, I'm going to put the post up in the Twitch. Valiant sent us a picture of how many desserts he had over the holiday, and I swear this man brought enough for 50
It wasn't me.
people.
It was my mother-in-law.
4 people in that whole house.
No, hold up. See, if the thing is, if it was a normal Christmas, it would have been twice that amount because people would have been coming over.
Oh man!
So
it was my food for 4 people, bro.
It was my mother. First of all, my mother-in-law does this. She gets way more food than is necessary, and her idea is, all right, well, the extra food I'm just going to box up and give to people, or whatever.
The entire town.
Nobody can. Well, hold on. The entire town. She actually does. They donate like 100 turkeys every year to the food bank here and stuff like that. So they kind of try to do that, but like the whole dessert thing was like, okay, we're going to give it to people afterwards. And I'm like, no one's coming over. And she's like, oh yeah. Okay. So anyway, there was like 4 pies and like 3 or 4 coffee cakes, and then all these like
cakes,
little desserts.
Full cakes. Who needs this?
Like, yeah. I want to be like, you should next time she does that, you should be like, ask your mother-in-law, are you mad at somebody or something? Because
no, she loves the holidays. So I mean, it's whatever.
Wow.
Bro, I have seen people on their way to the chair who didn't get that much food.
I could feel diabetes setting and just looking at the picture at all this, just looking at them. I was like, oof. Anyway, the other food of food of the week. I mean, it's been a long time, but a pho place opened up here, which is strange. Pho. I said pho. I usually put a little O at the end of the pho. Pho.
Stop playing around, man. It's pho. Because just say pho and get it over with.
Now it's pho. There's actually a food truck in Las Vegas called What the Pho, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, they had some proper pho. It was good, man. I was actually really, really surprised because I live in a very white, very rural area. So the fact that this place is here was a nice surprise, and the food is good. So
amongst the grain. Okay, we'll take it.
Do you want to explain what exactly is it? I don't think I've heard it.
It's like ramen, but it's Vietnamese. It's the Vietnamese spin on what ramen is.
Okay.
Very good.
It's usually ramen is usually in a pork base. Pho is generally speaking in a beef base and sometimes chicken base. So this
yeah. You need to get up on it for sure.
yeah.
I took my missus to Japan, and the ramen out there just like blew her mind. We found this one spot right near the hotel, next level. The guy would shout loud when you walk in the restaurant, and just like it was just so good. The food, you could just tell that's all that guy had done for like 15 years. You know what I mean? Food, that Japanese food.
The key is finding a place that makes their own noodles. That's if they make their own noodles, generally speaking, it's going to be at the very least decent. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a couple places in Toronto that are just off the chain that I go to pretty regularly. So
I got taken to this place by the promoter, like a proper like Japanese meal, and we had like this. There's a big pot of broth in the middle of the table, and then they serve up, and it's like pork, and you have to like
Korean barbecue, probably.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't really like it was because you were just boiling it, so it's just like boiled. It wasn't like on a barbecue. It was really interesting. Really,
I forget what that's called, but that's
they
a
have
pretty
the
common
grill
thing.
in the middle of your table and all that.
It wasn't a grill.
No, it's like boiled. Yeah, it's like
broth, like hot broth.
Boiling broth, and you cook the meat in it, like at the table yourself.
Yeah,
there must be some hot ass water right there.
I know with pork, right? You just don't really, I don't really trust pork to be cooked. Mine was in there for ages. They're like, "You should eat it now." I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna wait a little."
Yeah,
bit.
I'm not dying.
I think I was working at like a record label, or I might have met him. He was working in a record store as well, but we just had the similar group of friends, and you know,
worked out.
I've known Jakes forever. Forever. And going back to the point on the dubstep thing, I feel like my man doesn't really get the credit for the rhythm, because I remember going to his house and he was creating this genre, and like he would never say it himself.
Never.
But I would say my man was a pioneer of a genre and never really got the like, I don't know, the credit.
The credit or the accolade.
Wait, are you saying that a black artist is not getting credit for his work? I mean,
I told you it was coming, but he's gonna say some shit anyway.
Click.
What's funny is it's wild how many people, if you say that he hasn't gotten the respect and the just dues in that. But if you ask any of the heads, if you ask anybody on Twitter who's an artist or knows anything, Jake's the dude. Yeah. Jakes is the dude. Like, if he says it, I don't care what none of y'all say. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I remember there was this time when he was living up at Tech Itch's house, and Tech Itch had like moved to LA.
Shout out Tech Itch, by the way.
Yeah, big shouts to Tech Itch. And so Jakes was just like in this house with like this incredible studio that Tech Itch had built in this place. And like every couple of days, I would just get on my BMX and just ride up to this place. And Jay would just have like this new beat, this new music. And I was like, "Can I get in on that?" He's like, "No, man, it's all good. I'm just doing this." And obviously, I've always been the drum and bass guy, so I just keep doing my stuff. I would go there, test tunes, but he was onto something. I knew he was just like, he was in this scene, and it was just like a perfect moment for him. But I just never felt like, because he's such a sort of humble guy, he never came out and was just like, "That's me, you know,
I'm Jake's bitch."
Yeah.
Nah, it's funny too, and it's funny even to hear you say that you're the drum bass guy, because like there are certain, this is gonna sound funny, there are certain drum and bass artists I've loved to grow up. I've grew up on watching, and I put Dynamite in this thing. I always think you guys are like hip hop heads, just in drum and bass bodies. Like the way you operate, the way you create, the way you specifically have created 7 million remixes, just like a hip hop DJ would. It's just like you take everything and flip it immediately. Like if it even remotely sounds cool, TC's going to make an even cooler remix. Like it's happening. That's just, and like I've always admired that about about you guys because you're not afraid to flip genres. There's no elitism or anything like that. You're very much into, I'm here to create whatever while still being pure to the essence of drum and bass and understanding what that culture is and not disrespecting it and finding that fine line and bouncing in between it without a problem, you know?
When I was writing all the earlier music that I did, a lot of it was inspired by producers like Nerd and that really kind of Dr. Dre. I mean, everybody sort of like kind of test tune if they owned a sound system would be the Chronic, because the Chronic just had this like, it was just so incredibly punchy on those drums
Yeah.
and just like, and with Nerd, like the separation between all the parts and the simplicity and just being able to make something so meaningful but with such little amount of instruments was always a thing that really kind of got to me, and I was always like, wow, if I can just get 4 or 5 standout sounds instead of having to layer up 500 tracks of something, it really can bring like a signature to what it is that you're doing. And it's all kind of, I guess, contrived musician speak, but I really feel that like, that it's definitely an influence on my music, along with a lot of weird stuff. Like, I don't know, I listen to all sorts of kind of strange music to try and, I never want to get influenced by drum and bass, I guess is what
Right.
I'm really trying to say. I never really want to get too influenced by things. Although in my early career, I was, and I think it's okay to do this, to be heavily influenced by certain artists. If you listen to like Stevie Wonder, he had that song Sir Duke, which is like where he's calling out all of his influences.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's okay from like a drum and bass point of view or any artist point of view to come through with those influences, as long as like you put your own stamp on it after a certain period of time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like we preach to the choir all the time about the importance of that, of recognizing that in MCs. Being a student of the game will make you a better MC. I personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but I personally try to be the Shang Tsung of MCs. Like, I've got styles that I've taken from Eminem, Ice Cube, Andre 3000, Kendrick. I mean, but even you ask those people and they're all influencing either. We could take it even deeper. How we all just watched Snoop Dogg talking to Will Smith about how Summertime was strictly taken from Rakim, or you watch the art of rap, something from nothing, and Ice Cube will sit there and tell you he stole his shit from, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
it's all about
all the
influencing
greats,
the next one. It's carry on tradition, so to speak. Each one
pretty
teach one.
much. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
That's always
sure.
been, which is why it's such a marvel to be such an artist. Is like even the greatest artists that you look at, and then you get a chance to hear the breakdown of where it all comes from and what inspired him. What you realize is that something inspired him that's pretty much along the lines that made him turn this into something. And maybe the originality is what you do with the inspiration, because I think that's where people sort of either they either go too hard on one thing, like they just try to emulate what exactly was already painted, or they just go ahead and just, I'm gonna just put a little splash of blue on here or a little different color on there. And sometimes those little things
Yeah.
make a difference. I think that just comes with the territory when it comes to art in general for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Drum and bass MCing is
Hmm.
such a thing. It's so important from my point of view. I don't like it when people say they don't like an MC on the set.
I'm
If
sorry.
they
Could you
don't,
you repeat that? I didn't hear
some I don't like that. I like to hear MCs. I want to work with an MC who's just, certain MCs I work with, and there's an incredible comfortability factor that that they're with you, and they're gonna make you look good if you mess up a mix. Like if you clang,
Clang,
they
clang, clang.
got you. You know what I mean? They're like, they'll
Yeah.
cover over those bits, or like
It's a two-way street for sure.
Well, yeah, you know, we are the sort of the Bob Rosses of the scene. I just wanted to say that real fast.
Just put emojis in the chat.
Yeah, you know, Bob Ross. We are, you know, the sound is coming. You know, the DJ is the canvas, the DJ is the support on the canvas, and the canvas is being made, and the picture is being made by the DJ, and the MC comes through with the paintbrushes and just traces and colors in what the image is, and I think that's the love of it all. But
and understanding the ebb and the flow of what's going on. And reading a crowd as well. It's like, it's not just the DJ that has to learn how to read a crowd. An MC, you know, you can't do call and response. If you get that call, you throw out a call and response and you get no response,
you're done.
Another call and response.
I think what's more egregious though is the MC that calls for a reload when absolutely nobody's calling for that.
Sometimes it's a personal one. Sometimes, but I totally feel you. But sometimes Jakes will literally just reach over the decks and just pull it up, and I'm like, bro,
sometimes, hey, I always make a joke. It's like, hey, I get one unnecessary rewind set. Like, that was for me. I wasn't concerned about how y'all was feeling. This was my own personal rewind. I'm sorry. Continue on.
I love that though. I think that's, you know, that makes me so happy. I like to play in shows where it's all bustling in the booth. You know, I want people to like almost knock me over when I do that double drop.
Don't say that too loud, TC.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's
a get personal space invaders up in there.
Anyone who's ever seen TC play, man, is first of all, it's fun being an MC while TC's playing, because if you even remotely take your foot off the gas, he will grab the mic and do it for you. Like,
only in America. I mean, it depends where I am. If I was playing like one of the smaller shows in America, I'm obviously going to let you get on with it. If it's a big, like really big show, I feel like there's a little bit where sometimes the crowds are not all drum and bass people, and they want to see a little interaction between the DJ and the crowd. Totally. And I feel like that kind of works. I'm not trying to take over your jobs.
No. No. First of all, I wouldn't even have mentioned
what is it? I have no standing on the mic. I should not be on there.
That's not true. That's bullshit.
I understand this. I think I'll do a set piece. So like halfway through the set, I might sort of like take a little video of the crowd and be like, can you all do something
that's different
so that I can post it or whatever? And just make, a lot of times that can actually like raise up the whole feeling of the thing, because people weren't expecting it for you to even do that. And then you just kind of like, you make that little connection between you and them. And then after that, especially if you drop in some fire tune or you do it in like the breakdown of a tune or something, like those little set pieces can work really well. It's weird talking about it because I'm getting like butterflies in my stomach even thinking about playing a gig.
Oh man, we all miss it.
And I haven't played a gig for a year, and I've been doing this for 15 years, man. It might be the whiskey talking, but I just feel a little.
No, man. Look,
it's hard for everybody. But
I miss the stage. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and as long as we've been doing it, I've been on stage with drum and bass for 20 years now.
Yep.
I've been doing hip hop shows before that, freestyle ciphers. Even after 20 years, I remember the last gig I played in Los Angeles, February 12th last year. And even then, I was nervous as fuck before I got on stage. It never goes away. It doesn't, in my opinion. There's a lot of people out there who still feel that way because you fucking care, dude. Like those sets mean something. You know what I mean?
Hold on one second.
The classic Valiant leave.
There we go.
Every time.
Yeah. Joe is officially back.
We have had meetings.
Yo, just mute the page. It is.
Anyway,
we gonna leave this in too, so he hear this later.
Yeah, for sure.
we all miss it. It's terrible that it's been taken away. I've always asked everybody who's come onto my show, like, when's your prediction for when we might be getting back in on this? I don't know.
I've been caught trying to be optimistic before.
Oh,
So
boy.
my original game plan was by summer. I'm looking at by winter winter time now.
Winter time, yeah.
Hopefully.
Not to go super deep, but like, you know, it's just that we have a new strand running around, and it's making it harder. You know, it's making people again. It's more contagious. It's way more contagious, and I think that might be the difference. But you know, we just went through a changing of the guard, so to speak,
Yeah.
a transitional moment.
Yeah.
I got a very depressing prediction of around 2024. So that's what I was thinking.
24?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just feel like I feel like
You guys are in the
weird
thick of
stuff
it too, though.
I go in all like deep on this stuff though. I think there's going to be a lot of like turmoil going on in the world and that kind of stuff. And like financially, there's a very strange kind of. I got super into like day trading and finances and that kind of stuff as soon as this whole kind of pandemic hit, because I was like, you know, like I got nothing else to do with my time, so I'm just going to learn about this stuff. And just, I feel like, not to go too deep in on it or get too.
No, it's a good road to take.
If everybody's taking like all this money, this stimulus checks, right? This stimulus money, $2,000 each or whatever, it goes in the bank, and then the banks can then lend that money out 10, 15, 20 times because they've got the system of banking. They print money on money. So like the dollar is going to be like a little bit shaky, and I feel like there's going to be some sort of like very unstable sort of financial situations.
Guaranteed.
And like, well, yeah, I don't know how deep I want to go into it on this, but I follow a lot of stuff, and I've been reading and learning about this kind of stuff, and just buy some gold. That's what I'm saying. Not Bitcoin. No Bitcoin.
I will say that the one thing that Trump was smart about doing was increasing the printing machine on dollars, because I think he already knew that the ground was already hollow, and he just wanted to look good. And as long as he looked good, he was able to print more. It just kind of saved his ass a bit. But now here we are, and we walk into, this is like, you know, you left your kids the keys to the house, they threw a party, you come back, and now you have to investigate what's broken, what needs to be fixed, and it's all that on top of just trying to create more value and keep things back at a work in progress. So, I mean, you know, optimistically, if everybody gets on the same board, we could see May. But I'm not saying like a happy May. I'm saying like
May of when?
May of this year. I'm just saying it optimistically speaking. No, I'm saying because
man, yeah, for sure. We with you.
It is
positive
February.
vibes.
It is February, right?
Yeah, bro. May's my birthday. I know how close that is.
We got enough time to do this right now. Smack people around to wake up. All I'm saying is that if we just get these idiots, well, I don't want to call anybody idiots. It's just the first episode. If we just get these people just to open their brains enough to understand that this is what it takes for everybody to have their civility back, then maybe
You're muted. You're muted.
I know.
You're muted,
You're
which
muted.
is probably good.
Hello?
You're muted.
I'm putting the best energy
We had
out
thousands.
there,
We
guys.
had thousands.
He's back.
We had thousands of people
Peanut
show up
right.
to take over the Capitol because they were told some fucking ridiculous shit. They were like armed and
And
stuff
now
like that.
somebody's got to speak to them.
Whoa.
Look, people have been speaking to him for years.
First of all,
so what I'm saying is the stupid factor is not like easily over. Like it's not easy to overcome.
Very credible information.
I don't care. Look, it could be Jesus himself.
I'm joking. I'm not a
Could reveal himself to these people, and it still won't work because they would just call him a libtard. You know what I mean? Like it's not. This is not happening by May. Like I literally said to somebody the other day
that I got to go into depth of what I see in May. what I see in May is light openings of stores that weren't necessarily open. Let's just say restaurants or a little bit back.
And here's something that people have got to take into account too. A lot of venues are going to be gone. There's a lot of venues already gone. We
That's
already.
don't
right.
know what venues are going to be around. We have no idea how that's going to happen. And with the reduction of venues, that means that there's only going to be certain people who are going to be able to play
A-listers.
events.
That's
Yep,
not wait, see, but
Exactly.
that's old you still that's still old ways of thinking because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you right now. I'll throw a party in the park if we're allowed to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Going back to the old ways of throwing raves in the park and underground, like that's fine with me. I'm cool with all that. And we can bring DJs over and you'll have the more respected
Yeah,
ones
for
who
sure.
even know how that goes. I'm good with that.
I could just see municipalities using all of that as an excuse to crack down on those kinds of things because the municipalities are not making money like they used to. Like they're gonna be losing out on a lot of hold on. They're gonna be losing out on a lot of tax revenue and stuff like that. And it may be more profitable for them to fine people and shut them down than to just grant permits. You know what I mean? It's so it depends on who is working
Well,
in these municipalities.
One
yeah.
thing that's really fascinated me about how it all goes down in the US is like you guys could start promoting a show a week before the event and it's still okay. In England, it's like months lead up. But
Way
you guys seem
months.
to
Yep.
it's crazy how like sometimes it's like you be in contact with a promoter sometimes and like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks before an event, they're like, no, I haven't started promoting that one yet. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but I mean,
Only
look at the sheer number of events that happen in the UK, though. I mean, in the United States, if there's an event happening in a city, there might be another one happening that same night, but probably not.
Right. Okay.
There might not even be another event happening that same week, depending on
Talking
what
just drum and
city.
bass wise.
Or if it's like
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
places that we play on the World of Drum and Bass tour, it's like the only one in that year, like in like some places I feel.
There are some places like that, but I mean, the city I'm from, it's like a mid-size city. Like there's one maybe weekly event happening for drum and bass, and parties happen at a certain pace. You don't have competing events usually, but if you look at the way stuff goes on in the UK, you'll have multiple events on a night. You'll have multiple events happening during the week, every
Yeah.
week. And
Yeah.
the kind of lineups that these things are, you could have like an average like weekly club night in the UK would be a headlining tour in the United States. So
Yeah, I think
that started to reduce slightly in the UK in the last couple of years. The midweek nights have started to become more of a weekend thing, and the bigger events are starting to do more like larger events. But it feels like the midweek stuff in the UK was almost tailing off um towards the end of like the year leading up to this thing. And I just want to take this opportunity just to send a massive shout out to all the promoters around the world who put on these events, like in every small town that have ever like booked me to play or booked anyone in drum and bass, because really the lifeblood of this whole scene is those people who, as Fury said earlier I was doing like a chat with him.
shout out Fury, man.
He was
Legend.
saying like that a lot of them, if they just don't lose too much money, it's a really good night. You know what I mean? So like,
right. Yeah. I mean,
big
actually, I think SS brought this up when he was on the show, talking about those, a lot of the, like the flyover states, and they have events. Like, I'm thinking specifically of like people like NAPDNB in Indianapolis, and like, in these places where it's a drum and bass desert, and they put on events and they know they're going to lose money when they bring in a headliner, and they do it anyway. And those are the kinds of things that hold the music together across the country. So, I can't imagine putting my fucking wallet in the line like that every single week or every single month. I just don't even.
I mean, it's cool for people like SS and TC as well. You guys will come play for the budget according to that city as well.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd never want to come and like, rip a man off for like that kind of thing. If there's only a certain amount of people are gonna come to the rave, like I'm never gonna be, you know.
Well, as nonchalantly as you threw that off, not everyone's like, like
For real.
just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying?
I
But,
really
yeah.
like those weird shows.
So do I.
I really, really enjoy the not knowing whether it's going to be busy, the like, just like some of them are just so off key. Like sometimes they will bring in the most ridiculous sound system for like the smallest venue,
Bro.
just because their friend has got this like, I don't know how many kilowatts of amps and speakers, just
And
because they
you
want to
play
like
that show like it's a 7,000 person event.
every time. I'm not,
Dude, we walked in one time in St. Louis, I believe. It was me and Andy, and we walked into this club and there were 10 people there. And we were like, okay. They had a blast. I had so much fun with those. I was on the floor with them, like, and
yes.
you know what I'm saying? We just did it. You just cool, drinks flying, like it was great. Like that's I've grown. Look, man, we all love the spectacle of festivals. They're art pieces, in my opinion. Some of the biggest festivals on the planet, as much as the people I know, the people behind the scenes putting into production, they're fucking masterminds at it, geniuses, genius level shit. But sometimes, man, there's just nothing better than that 150 people smashed in a room, or the 30 people that can get in. It's just
Sweaty hot box.
It's like right in your face.
Dude,
You know, every
Dog,
single one of
has
those
been an argument
people.
for so much, man. Like it's always that's a long-term argument. What is better, the intimate,
It's no
small
better.
versus the big,
It's different.
large?
I think what's really cool from a DJ point of view in those situations is the kind of depth of selection that you can bring to those smaller venues, because those crowds, you know, you don't have to play the top 10 of the minute mixed
No.
with the deep selection.
Right.
You could just come in with the deep selection. I think there was one of the drum and bass, World of Drum and Bass tours, one of the shows there, and I literally just played an old school set. Just because I didn't want to play the same set as all the other guys
The week
or
before.
like try and do anything. I was just having fun with it because I knew it wasn't like a really sort of big show. So I could just come and play like all the old school tunes that I love, just because, you know, you can bring that deeper selection and maybe like a few liquid bits in there and stuff. And some of those shows can be a little bit more challenging from the point of view of losing crowds, because people, if they're not really enjoying your energy, they can just walk out. Whereas in a
Waltz
festival,
right out of there. Yep.
it's not the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, the
Although
festival, they spend a
saying
lot of
that,
money. They're not going anywhere.
It's funny because I'm gonna tell a story in a minute, guys.
do you remember that? Did you play that show on the Viram tour?
Yeah,
Where
that
I
song's
think
what?
is that what you were
Oh,
talking
Lord.
about? Oh
Yeah.
my! Is that the only time that's happened to you? Because
No, not at all. That's happened many a times. I'll tell you two quick stories, right? I'll tell you the quick story and then we'll lead
Yeah,
into
you guys
your
got to
story.
explain this one here.
The quick story is there is a mix right now on SoundCloud of Andy and myself in Miami. And if you read the comments, I am getting berated. Like this guy, he talks too much. Why won't he shut up? I hate him. I hope he dies. Somebody give me the address to his mother. Like the whole like the most vicious, because I wouldn't, because in the beginning of the mix, I'm talking a lot. What they don't know is, and this is why I tell people, stop commenting on live mixes when you weren't there. First of all, everyone that was there had a blast. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But before we get into that, you also don't know that oh my god,
Well,
DJ played before us.
Okay.
Zomboy, Jesus, my bad. Sorry, Josh. Zomboy played before us, obliterated the place. And when he got off stage, there was a mass exodus. So my whole job for the first 15 minutes was, please don't leave. You know what I'm saying? So I'm rapping and it worked. And I got the crowd and we were chilling and Andy killed it and we had a great day. But what you don't, you know what I mean? You don't know that. All you hear is me literally rapping for 15 minutes like, blah, 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 please don't go anywhere. Everybody, are you involved? Hey, you in the green shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Which doesn't sound great.
Where I played after dubstep guys and then just had to find all my halftime drum and bass tunes,
So
just to sort of like get that keep that energy just for a little bit and then just like start working in the double time, because in the States it could be so
So we played Seattle, VIRAM tour, right?
that one.
Tour was dope. Like dope. And we get to Seattle and I forget, it was the Irish night. It wasn't Freak Night. It was whatever the Irish, whatever the St. Patty's Day festival is inside this stadium we've all played in a bunch of times. It's massive. Love that place. USC, shout out. And we get the Violent tours. Yeah, Brills played before us. And I don't know if you guys remember how dedicated of a Brills army Brills had. Like the shirts, the merch, the language, the alien writing, like
it was his own thing.
Brills had a following, like still
I
to
never
this day.
understood why he cancelled that off. It felt like he was gonna go on to
Artistic, just like I'm gonna go do this now. We're like, all right, I respect that.
Yeah,
like at the height of his career, he was just
Right
like,
up there.
I'm good. It's like, all right. Anyway, you gotta respect it. And it was like a month after this. So anyway, it was crazy. The whole place had been bananas, and we're going up and we're walking. I have video. We're we're walking through the crowd like, yo, this is crazy. 10,000 people, easy. Yo, Brills got off stage, and it didn't even matter that we were going on. You was so bad you couldn't take it personally. I'm talking, this shit went from 10,000 people to 150.
Oh wow!
In a matter of 5 minutes. Like, and TC played first. TC got on stage and was like, please don't leave. But it was like,
Everybody
you knew it wasn't
low.
us. It was just, he just straight in, like, everybody get to come up, quick. Just like, bro, I've never seen, and it happened. You just knew they were Brills people. It had nothing to do with us. It was.
But
just
the other
like,
thing, it was a back to back with me, Optical. So I played like the first two tunes, and then Optical came on and just didn't really give a fuck, and was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do the longest mix ever of the two hardest tunes to get everyone the fuck out of this place. It was perfect. It was just the best thing. But the savior was the after party.
Yes. Random.
And like it was rammed, so it was cool. It was all
that
good.
Wasn't even planned. They were just like, yo, why don't you just come to this after party instead? We were like, all right.
Sure.
And we ended up going playing this after party till like 6 a.m.
It was vibes. It was vibes.
Yeah, good times.
It was all good. That was the savior of it. I didn't know that you would remember that.
Oh,
that's obviously one of the worst.
That was pretty bad. I've seen a couple. I've done one with Andy after Feed Me in a field, and it went from, but that was like, I don't know, 1,000 people down to 7. But 10,000 to 150 is some wild shit to look at, bro. I was just like,
I mean, just to like bring the other side of it as well. I played.
It was like they closed, dude.
Hollywood. I played the Hollywood Palladium, like sold out.
Okay.
After Zomboy, and like smashed it. So it was. There are some times when, especially with like a LA crowd, they were still open minded enough, and I was playing like really sort of like, you know, headsy tunes, and it was still going off in there. So like, it's not every situation where that happens. I don't want to paint myself in too much of a crowd clearing light.
if that's what you gathered out of this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for not explaining who TC is more in this podcast.
You know, I'm about to say we got plenty of time to make up for this anyway, so it's no worries at all about.
I do hope so.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, you guys were talking about DJs grabbing mics from MCs, and what kept playing through my head, shouts to Random Movement. He has this beautiful mix of Spread Love by Stevie Wonder. And if you ever, at MCs, if you ever play with Random Movement, he's going to snatch the mic from you. And don't feel no way, because the next 2 minutes are something that you're going to wish you had on camera. And I might throw it up a little later, of Mike singing Spread Love. And he does it every time. It's something that it's a joyous moment. So shout out to Random Movement. for sure.
You
but,
gotta have a good time, man. That's what this
yeah,
whole
man.
thing is about. It's like I counter back to when I was DJing, touring with Craze, back to back for years, and we would do interviews afterwards. And afterwards, I'd get on the interview, and they're like, like, what do you guys do this for a living? Like, how's it? And I'm like, yeah, man, just trying to bring music to the people and educate young minds. I'm like, Craze, I'm just trying to party. I'll be like, yeah, you're right. My bad. Well, you gotta have a good time, man.
I got buried by Craze in Puerto Rico. Like, literally, I played a set. It was a good set. Everyone was going off. It was real nice. Craze comes on and just literally like bodied me in this set, bro. Like, he killed it.
Yeah.
Like, levels. I was like, bro,
don't say it too loud.
Oh yeah, he jumps in.
People like, I know.
He jump in the room a lot. He's going, why? Look, I knew him. I knew it. I knew it.
Shout out Craze. Check his channel
too.
on Twitch. Yeah, nah, man. But that's and so people know, man, these are far and few between. I didn't know about the Craze thing. I've played I don't know how many gigs with you now. That Seattle thing was definitely an anomaly. You fucking bodied it everywhere else. You track selection, you bring in originals, bring in remixes. You never know what you're gonna play, where it's gonna come, how much of the tune you're even gonna play. Like it's been fun watching you sometimes. People are like, aren't you going to get on? I'm like, for what? Like, he's good. You know what I mean? I want to enjoy for once.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I mean, going back to Craze, how many DMC championships, you know what I'm saying? Like,
6.
Does he have
Great.
6?
There's no point in even trying
Jesus.
to sort of out DJ that guy. There's not really, if I'm going to play, I'll play my tunes. Because then I can sort of get him on that I outproduced you, maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't even know if that's even a thing. I know he makes some tunes, but when someone like that comes, I saw him play like 2005 when he was still on vinyl in like Edinburgh, and the guy just played. You might have even been there.
I was there. I was just like, I remember that.
And he did like some routines, and I was like, wow.
Rock Raider was there too. Rest in peace.
Yeah, two of the best sets I ever did were with Craze. I mean,
yeah,
it's like you don't even really need to say anything. You know what I mean?
He's
it's like...
ruined people scratching for me. But hey, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
And
really appreciate you guys.
We've got to set up and
come back as well, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like we could talk about more some other time, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll come back for sure. I like that.
All right, cool. The Mighty TC, ladies and gentlemen. You can check him out on TCDNB on YouTube, also on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TCDNB. Follow him on Twitter. Everything you need to know. Anytime you need to get access to the man, he is very easy to talk to. And yeah, we love you, man. Appreciate you for coming through.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Big up.
Valiant. Amani. Track. There goes your theme music right there.